So I just had the chance to see the latest Dreamworks animated film called Trolls. Trolls is based on the dolls that were popular in the 90s, 80s, 90s. I remember playing them when I was a kid. And when I first started the project, I thought it was a really strange project because I just didn't think that kids really play with trolls much anymore. I don't see them. I don't feel like kids really know that much about trolls, and I don't ever see like my nieces playing with trolls, and so it just seemed like a really strange sort of property, and it's not one that I feel like people have that much nostalgia for, so it seemed strange. And then the trailers came out and I hated pretty much all the trailers. They had the first teaser that was a bunch of twerking and just seemed really bad. The second trailer actually wasn't that bad, but then I hated the third trailer. I thought it was horrible. And so now I've seen the movie. I kind of went in with very reserved expectations, and I have to say it's not awful. To me, it was very uneven. There would be moments that I like, and then there would be a moment I didn't like, and then a moment I liked, and a moment I didn't like, and a moment I liked. And in pretty much every category, I felt that way. I do think that the average person that's just looking for sort of a pleasant time with their kids will go and enjoy Trolls. There's nothing offensive about it. There's nothing that's like awful about it. I think that you could take kids and they will have an okay time. And, you know, it's not something that I say like, I don't know, like stay away kind of thing. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good. And so let me kind of tell you about some of those ups and downs that I saw within the movie. So it's about this colony of trolls, and these Bergens are there, and the Bergens are taught that the only way they can be happy is by eating trolls. And one of the strange things about this is you never learn where this idea came from. It's not like there's sort of a bad person who sort of put this idea in their head. This is just, it starts out, that's what they believe. And so that was sort of strange, I thought. But that's what they believe. And there is this bad Bergen who's the chef who gets blamed when all of the trolls escape. And so she gets blamed and she's really upset. And the Bergens then go feeling like they can never be happy ever again. So there is this king of the Bergens who is very convinced that he'll never be happy. He's very miserable, and he has this servant who is in love with him, but doesn't get paid any attention to. And then there's this sort of chef character. Her name is Bridget, and she's voiced by Zooey Deschanel. And then you have the trolls, and it is led by Princess Poppy, who is convinced that everything is happy and there's never any problems. And you have Branch, who is kind of the grumpy one for various reasons that you learn, and he has all this sort of storage, and he doesn't want anyone to bother him because he thinks that everybody is really naive about the Bergens. And the setup and the character arcs and stuff is very similar to Angry Birds. So if you liked Angry Birds, then you might go for this. I think the end message isn't quite as weird as the Angry Birds message, but it's very similar. You have these kind of bad people invading these happy-go-lucky people. You have one person amongst all the happy people who's not happy, who's angry, and you know they have to kind of learn their lesson. So it's very similar to Angry Birds. And then they end up through certain things. The Bergen, the chef Bergen, ends up finding them and taking some of the trolls. Poppy ends up getting Branch to go and try to rescue her troll friends. Sort of the story for maybe like the first half of the movie, and then like the second half of the movie becomes kind of this like Cyrano de Bergerac, My Fair Lady kind of a thing where they're trying to like give Bridget confidence. And I didn't think any of that giving Bridget confidence stuff worked. I didn't like it. And I thought that Zooey Deschanel was pretty terrible as a voice actor for Bridget. She would kind of drove me crazy whenever I would hear the voice for some reason. And the rest of the voice cast I thought was fine, but it didn't need to be these celebrities. I mean, Anna Kendrick is pretty perky and fine. So, and Justin Timberlake, it's fine, you know, no problem, I guess. But it was very, you know, predictable and obvious, but it did have a nice message in the end. And the character design I thought was really nice for the trolls, but I didn't like the character design for the Bergens. I don't know, I know they're supposed to be bad, but I don't know, they were just so unpleasant to look at, and they were on screen for so long, especially this whole Bridget, and that, I don't know, I didn't really care for the way they were designed. I didn't like it. And then the music was almost always a miss for me. There were a couple songs that I liked. Most of the songs are very short. Like, I don't know, a minute maybe that you get these just tiny little songs. And I don't know, I just felt like it was sort of a way to fluff up the script because they didn't have enough, because it's only a 92-minute movie as it is. So without the songs, then it might not be long enough. And like, they didn't add anything to the story. They didn't really, I don't know, I didn't really care for them. There's that Can't Stop the Feeling, the Justin Timberlake song, is pretty catchy, but the numbers and stuff didn't do anything for me. And I just felt like all of them could just be X'd out of the movie. The True Colors is pretty nice, but still, I thought the singing was a miss. The animation was very hit and miss. There were some parts where I loved the sort of the felt feel to everything. Like I said, I liked some of the character designs very much. I liked sort of this Lisa Frank kind of look to the world, how bright it was. But then, like, every once in a while, you'd have these sequences that looked really cheap kind of thrown in there, that looked poorly rendered and poorly made. And I found that kind of surprising from DreamWorks. There's a scene where the characters are getting chased by this kind of alligator character, and it looked really low budget. It did not look finished. It didn't look good to me. And there were a number of spots like that where I really felt like the animation was sloppy. And, you know, so there's that. Like, it just, like, it was just very uneven like that. There were times that I liked it, and then there were times I didn't like it. Then there'd be another thing I liked, and then there would be another thing I didn't like, and then there'd be a thing I liked. And so, yeah, that's kind of my experience with this film. It's not really one I ever really want to watch again, or I would ever want to own on Blu-ray, but it's not horrible. It's not like I was miserable or anything like that. But I don't know, for the most part, I think it has a pretty nice message for kids, but I don't know if they'll really get invested in this whole Cinderella / Cyrano de Bergerac kind of thing that happens with the Bergens. And there are some tense moments when the Bergens get pretty where the trolls get pretty close to getting eaten, where everybody's very worried and concerned. That might be concerning for preschool age children. It might be a little upsetting. But yeah, that, and I don't think the kids will really like the music that much, but maybe, I don't know, it's hard to know. But I give Trolls a C. I think that it is worse than, in my opinion, it is worse than Secret Life of Pets and is worse than Storks. And so it will go right under there. It's a little better, I think, than Angry Birds. But they're close, I think. So that's my thoughts on Trolls. Let me know if you get to see it. Do you like it? Did you not like it? Where were you at on it? And thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!